Hello interwebs, welcome to Let's Fix Computers. I've got a MacBook Air here. It's a good old A1466. Love these things. They're everywhere and they're easy to fix most of the time. So this one is liquid damaged, I think. Now I'm doubting myself and I'm going to double check. Yeah, liquid damaged, not turning on. So it's had a spell on it. Looks like the customer wiped it down. It's been on the shelf for a day or two, so yeah, it's probably dried out. So let's take a look. I did notice the there's a lot of grot in the MagSafe connector there. So I'm just going to clean all of that out, and then we'll just see if we get a green light on the charger. So I'm just going to grab a toothbrush and toothbrush this out. One of the Achilles heels of the MagSafe connector is because it's magnetic, it picks up a lot of stuff and doesn't really want to let go of it. However, a toothbrush usually makes light work of them. Little bit of isopropyl alcohol or glass cleaner just to help it out when necessary. There we go. That's come up nicely. Right. Do we have a green light on the charger? No. No green light on the charger. So let's open it up and see what's inside. Okay. Right. Tide marks in the dust. So we know that there's been liquid here. Right, we've got a lot of what looks like nasty stuff over on the I/O board area here. That's going to be affecting our green light. Some more tide marks on the logic board itself. Not really much in the way of corrosion by the looks of things. Display connector looks pretty good. There's always hot rails around here, meaning as long as the battery is connected, there is battery voltage up to the display connector at all times. So this is a classic place to get corroded because it's on the edge of the laptop and there's always battery power there. And like it can pull a fair amount of amps through there because it's the backlight rail as well. So yeah, lots of signs of liquid ingress. There's a little bit of nastiness there. I think that is SMC reset. So that can be causing us problems. A little bit on the diagnostic port there as well. That's another classic. There's lots of important signals there. So if this guy has problems, that'll ruin your day. So let's disassemble this. I'm going to get the logic board out and we'll do a closer lookup. We'll do a close-up on it. There's your problem. Probably needs a new I/O board. You know, that might just clean up. These guys here are diodes. So there's some power steering going on there, I think. The inside of the connector doesn't look too bad. I think this might just toothbrush clean, if I'm honest. The inside of the USB port looks good as well. That's the sleep sensor. We want to make sure that's okay because otherwise the laptop won't know when the lid is closed. Audio circuit is here. That looks like it's fine. If this area gets messed up, then there'll be no audio. That guy there is a thermal sensor. So if that guy gets messed up, you'll have high fan speed and slow performance. A little bit of corrosion underneath the cable there. This is where liquid gets trapped, places like this. I think this will toothbrush up though. I don't even think that's worth waiting 2 hours for the ultrasonic to warm up. Honest dust on the back of the logic board. So by honest dust, this is the back edge along the air vent. So, you know, all kinds of dust ingress just comes straight in and just settles on the board here. But the fact that this dust is here and undisturbed means that there hasn't been liquid rushing across there or anything like that. So that's why I call it honest dust, because that is just normal dust. It just accumulates there. So that's fine. There's no tide marks in it or anything like that. Not seeing any other corrosion anywhere else. Looks like looks like this side of the board didn't really get hit. So it does start begging the question, well, what did get hit then? Probably the keyboard. So yeah, we might have to watch out for keyboard issues when we start this thing up. Fine. I think our biggest issue is just the I/O board and the I/O ribbon, to be honest. I'm going to get a paintbrush and a toothbrush, and I'm just going to clean up this board. So before we do anything, let's just do some quick confidence checks to make sure there's nothing screamingly wrong with this. So I'm going to put my black probe on any ground point, so a screw hole. I'm just going to check PP bus G3 hot, which is the main power rail. Yeah, that guy's happy. And I'll check the other side of the fuse just to make sure the fuse hasn't blown. 20 million. No, that's fine. There's no drop across that fuse. For a moment, it looks like we were dropping some across the fuse, but that's fine. It is very rare, but not unheard of, to get a fuse that has partially failed. As I say, it's not something I would expect, but I have been caught out by it before, on a video at some point as well. So yeah, that's a thing that exists. Let's check the backlight fuse, which is this tiny little guy here. So I'm going to check both sides of that. 10 megohms. 10 megohms, no problem. And I'm going to bounce over here and just check the CPU bypass caps. Yeah, same issue. If there were any problems, I would expect something to have appeared. We'll check PP3V42 as well, which is on this inductor here. Yeah, that's fine. 90 kilo ohms. All right. So I mentioned this area here. This chip handles SMC reset. If we flip the board over, that's the SMC. And if this guy is not happy, the SMC will get held in a reset condition where it will not start. And that will cause the board to not work. So that is a possible point of concern. So I think what I'm going to do, I'll take the heatsink off and I'm just going to give this just a clean up. I'm not going to ultrasonic it. I don't think that's necessary. I'm literally just going to give it a brush down and a clean up, and we'll see how much of this is recoverable. This ribbon cable, I'll brush it down and plug it in, but I'm expecting that to be dead because these things usually do die. They're like £5 on eBay though, so you just replace them. I've actually got spares in after the last one of these that I did that needed a new ribbon cable. Oop. That felt... Oh yeah, that thermal paste. Yeah, that thermal paste is pretty dry. For those of you who are curious, On ultra-low power Intel CPUs, there are two dies. We've got the core, which is this long boy, and then this guy. This is the PCH, which is, to all intent and purpose, the chipset of the motherboard. And on ultra-low power CPUs, it's built into the CPU itself. You'll notice there's no thermal paste on this, and a lot of people panic when they see no thermal paste on the PCH. Or sometimes you'll see the heatsink will actually deliberately omit the PCH. This is normal because the core wants to run at up to 100 degrees C. The PCH does not want to be at 100 degrees C. Now, even though they're right next to each other on the same package, there'll be an enormous temperature delta between these two. However, if you've got a sheet of copper bridging them across, you're going to bridge 100 degrees from the core straight into the PCH and cook it. So a lot of the time on a lot of these laptops, you will find that they actually deliberately don't cool the PCH because the only thing nearby is the core, which is way hotter. Some devices do cool it, some don't. I roll with whatever the original manufacturer has chosen. If they have not put thermal paste on there, then I won't either. If they did put thermal paste on the PCH, then I will as well. I am assuming that the engineer who designed this motherboard knows more about how to cool it than I do. Fine, let's do some cleanup. Yeah, that's fine. Very, very light markings on the board there. That probably wasn't even causing an issue. Right, this guy, however, definitely has issues. Alright, well that really is very surface level. I didn't have to go at that very hard at all. Alright, well I've cleaned this guy up. We've still got some tarnished pins in there. I'm going to see if this works, but I would wager that this guy is dead and needs to be replaced. But I'll give it a whirl just in case, because it doesn't cost anything to try. So let's just get this board into a position where we can try and turn it on, and we'll see if anything has come back to life. So we want the DC board. We'll plug in a fan just so we can see when the board has switched on. Right, that's enough plugged in for us to do a quick health check, so let's see what we get. Fan spin. Okay, CPU is heating up, so I'm going to turn that off. So the laptop is alive, but we still have no green light on the charger. So now I'll just directly swap that out with a spare cable. And I'm going to put on some thermal paste because we know it's going to turn on now. Arctic MX4 in case anyone's interested. It's still cheap and it's effective. Right, now we've got some cooling. I don't have to panic and switch it off immediately. Right, so turning on, still no green light on the charger though. Do I have another DC board here? I have. I don't know if this one works, but we'll find out. It looks in pretty good condition. We'll put the new ribbon on it again. If we get a green light from this, I'll swap back to the customer's cable just to make sure that that is definitely faulty. And our survey says green light. Okay, so we've got a bad DC board. Let's interrupt that again. So now we swap back to the customer's ribbon, see if that is dead. There we go. How about now? Still works. Okay, yeah, so it is the DC board then. Let's have a look at this thing and see if we can see any visible problems with it. These DC boards are, I don't know, how much are they? Yeah, so the DC board, also known as the I/O board, also known as the power board, these things are between sort of £8 and £15, so you know, like $10 kind of thing, depending on condition. Like a brand spanking new one, I think, is about 15, but you know, pre-owned ones that work are, you know, £10 or less. So they're not expensive. So my inclination is just to replace this and not mess around. However, we'll take a very close look at it and just see if we can see any issues, just for the sake of science. So let me just get the microscope plugged in. So if we have a look at this guy, we've got some tarnished edges around there. These test points still work, they're just tarnished. None of them are actually gone. There's just junk on them. So I've not really looked very hard at the inner workings of this I/O board because, as I say, it's not really worth messing around with in the majority of cases. I wonder if there's some junk under there that I've missed. Let's just move that out of the way. I'll give this another scrub just for science, I think. Just going to clear all of the bits off of it, and we'll just I'll give it a proper vicious toothbrushing just to see if that brings it good. Now we know that this is definitely the fault, I'll be a bit more vicious with it just in case. Yeah. Alcohol destroys foam pads and stuff like that. Right, let's see if that's done us any favours. I'm not holding my breath, but... Nope. New DC board. That's our lot. So let's reassemble it with my spare one in there. And I shall order a new one of these to replace my dead spare one. I've already lost track of which... Okay, that's the good one, because this is the one where I removed that bit. So I should probably mark this right now. While we're here, we're going to have a quick look in the trackpad just to see if there's any cause for concern there. That is shiny and clean. There's been no liquid around here, I don't think. Does the... No, it's a replacement battery that doesn't have liquid sensors on it, so we won't know if there was any liquid around here. It looks really clean under the battery, though. So this ribbon over here, Let me see if I can get a close-up of that. Ooh. This ribbon here, this goes to the microphone array on the side. So it's not mission critical, but the microphones won't work if it gets messed up. So I'm just going to give that a quick brush down. There's just some surface gunk on there. Check this guy, which is the left-hand speaker. That's fine. Yeah, there's nothing else over here that we need to worry about. So yeah, we can just assemble now. Green light on charger. Green light on charger. Now orange light 'cause it's charging. And it may not turn on automatically because I plugged the battery in. Nope, there it goes. And we've got an Apple logo. That's it. All right. Oh yeah, I guess I'll quickly check the I'll check the keyboard super quick. Because if we please let the keyboard work. I just assembled this laptop. I don't want to take it apart again. Let's find out. The spacebar is working. It feels a little bit gross, but, you know, it's good enough. Testing the spacebar on this laptop with excessive spaces between the words or whatever. Good. All right, this is fine. Right, I think that's working just fine. So all in all this thing really needed was a new DC inboard. But hopefully this video shows as a good rough guide or example on how to approach a liquid damaged MacBook MacBook Air. These things are very repairable. We didn't need to do any serious work with this one, but it shows you what things to be looking at, how to do just some very basic cleanup work, and also how to just systematically identify whether it's just a very simple part that needs to be replaced or not. I have seen people agonize over going, oh, could it be this, could it be that? And it's like, just these parts are cheap, just replace them. There's no need to make it any more complicated. Like, I could sit and make this video an hour long and try and reverse engineer what has happened to this, but it's a $10 part. Who cares? Just replace it. See you next time, everyone. Bye.